Hey, thanks for finding me in the YouTube haystack. Now you probably are wondering, wait a second, this does not look like a movie review. You are correct. This is actually a training video for Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA. Now I've noticed NBA has really started to lose popularity in years, and I'm here to fix it. So what does make basketball great? Like every league has things that makes it great. Football's got the limited schedule, so every game is important. So we have an 82 game regular season of the NBA, and then we get the playoffs, which is about a couple months long. And the big thing people always say is we don't like load management. And how many people actually watch the regular season? So I have a proposal that I think is going to fix all of that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to shrink the season down to 62 games. And every team is going to play each other twice. And you're probably doing the math in your head and like, well, that doesn't equal 62 games. So we're going to have to add a couple teams. I think Seattle and the absolute basketball hotbed, Burlington, Vermont. Okay, probably not Burlington, Vermont. It would probably be Las Vegas or something like that. But this is all hypothetical. Now, I listen to a lot of sports shows, and they're all hypothetical, so I can do it too. So with that shortened season, we're going to really focus on the playoffs. Now, if you're also a college basketball fan, a lot of people don't watch the regular season as much until it starts getting close to tournament time because they want to make sure that they get those bets in and they win some money. But their regular season is really about March Madness, and I feel like the NBA is really about the playoffs. Now, current format, we started the play-in tournament this year. If you're judging it based off the Eastern Conference, it was terrible. And East constantly lets us down. The Western Conference play-in tournament was epic, thanks to the Golden State Warriors, the Grizzlies, and the Lakers. So what I thought the play-in tournament did this year was we had a lot more relevant teams coming down the home stretch. You saw a lot less sellers on the trade market, except for Orlando, who traded every good player they had, and then some. I think they may even traded a trainer, but I'm not sure. So we would see the tournament, in my proposal, 1 through 16, no conferences, because who cares about conferences? When was the last time you said, well, we didn't have a good season, but we sure love that Atlantic Division title? And if you're one of those people that just love the Atlantic Division, I apologize. So with our seeds 1 through 16, we would also go to 15, and then, you guessed it, a play-in tournament. Now what I would like to see is the play-in tournament be 8 teams, single elimination, and full of excitement. Now why would I want to do that? Would that devalue the regular season? I don't think so, because we'd have a short season, and teams would be trying to not be in the play-in tournament, and then we'd do a good job of, when we had the play-in tournament, that would feature some of our younger teams for some exciting players that we don't get to see all the time, and put them in some tense situations, but also, expose them instead of always having the season be over when no one was watching and we're missing out. So you're like, I'm not following you. So if we did it this year, we would have had the Kings, who have a lot of young, up-and-coming, exciting players. We would have had the Pelicans with Zion Williamson. Who doesn't want to see that? You got the Bulls, who are full of Orlando Magic players. You still would have had the Wizards, the Pacers, Spurs, and, of course, the Celtics. Not having a good year. So once that play-in tournament is all done, that's when we would go over to our big playoffs, the more traditional 1 through 16. And so the biggest complaint is always that you'd have teams flying all over the country. And even in the first round, you would have, LA versus Miami. And that would be too much on the players. Well, I look at this current schedule and I see 2 days off between game 1 and game 2 in series already. So if you're going to do that, I don't think the travel would really make that big of a difference. And let's be honest, they're taking private jets. They're going to be all right. So looking at the bracket, you'd have Utah versus our play-in tournament winner. You'd have the Mavs and Lakers, Nets and Heat, Nuggets and Knicks. So the first really big travel concern might be Clippers and Hawks, and then Sixers and Warriors. But the rest of them, Bucks and Blazers, Suns and Grizzlies, that's not really much different than what they already do now. Now, one other thing that I really like is that the Warriors would still be in the playoffs, and that would be at the expense of some of these really terrible Eastern Conference teams. And now they're out, so the NBA is going to miss out on a draw, which they normally would have had if they had followed my system. The reason I want to keep that seeded 1 through 16 with no more divisions, no more conferences, is I want the best. I want the 2 best teams at the end. I don't want to see the Eastern Conference runner-up, or if the pendulum ever swings and the Eastern Conference is stronger, or the Western Conference runner-up. I think right now our tournament's a little limited. And what I would also like to see is the first round be a best of 3, second round a best of 5. If you remember that from a while back, I sure do. And then the last couple rounds a best of 7. Why? I want some intensity. I want some of these playoff series where we're getting swept quickly, like the Bucks and Heats. I want those done. I want to move on to the big matchups. And again, this is all going to come down to revenue, so the owners would probably never do it because they took the 5-game series from before and made those 7. I don't think that's added much. You get like a couple good first-round series and a bunch of not so good ones. I'd also like to see a full-blown minor league system. Each team has their own team full of 12 more players that can call up or put down at will. I think that would really help with the development because a lot of times the league is turning into a development league and it shouldn't be. You could also use those 32 minor league teams in a tournament, sort of like the NCAA tournament, single elimination. Take a break from the NBA, the big dance. Really focus on your young stars up and coming, get people excited. So in the next year or two, those guys are going to be on the big team. So I think this is a great way. I don't think they're going to adopt it because, for one, they're going to lose money going from an 82-game season to a 62-game season. But hopefully if they do this, I'll get a little credit because I clearly mapped it out for them. So Adam Silver, you're welcome.